What you just heard is something I haven't heard in a very long time, probably since the Cold War. But as a ham radio operator and a shortwave listener and a pirate radio operator that also operated on shortwave, breaking international laws, I haven't heard that in a very long time. Those are spy numbers, and those spy numbers are being delivered in Farsi. Iran has taken to shortwave. Makes sense since their broadcast stations were taken out early in the war, but right after the war started, these numbers started being picked up. One was at 7810 kilohertz upper sideband, if you know this technology. Now, for you kids, shortwave radio is a type of radio that spans the globe and tends to have countries broadcasting propaganda to the rest of the world. We had a station like that until Kerry Lake gutted it, called the Voice of America. That's pretty much what it's for. I remember when I was a kid hiding under my desk from the Russians gonna nuke us any day now. I ran across Radio Moscow. Was fascinated that I could hear their perspective on things, even though I knew it was bullshit. Now, spy numbers being broadcast by Iran on shortwave means some shit's about to go down. Spy numbers was an old way of communicating with covert operatives and sleeper cells around the world to activate them and give them their marching orders. Unless you know the code, it can never be broken. It's really hard to find the transmitting site because a smart spy number broadcasts a sequence of spy numbers, turns it off, relocates to another place, and in the spy numbers, they have put spy numbers for when their next broadcast is going to be, maybe even on what frequency in case they have to change frequencies. Because at 7810 kilohertz, it sounds like the U.S. is jamming them. You know, I'll play that in a minute. I'll play the jamming device. You know, but then there's another frequency. You can see it right there. If you have an old shortwave radio lying around, or your grandparents do, or something. It's interesting to listen to, and it used to be a hobby for people to pick up spy numbers from all over the world and log where they found the spy numbers. But it's a very old way of communicating, and I hate to heap any praise on the brutal regime of Iran, but pretty smart. Al-Qaeda was using burner phones. And once our intelligence figured that out, they were able to figure out the burner phones. Figure out, who bought them, what accounts bought them, whatever, and then track the burner phones, or where they found burner phones in a certain area. Matter of fact, Osama bin Laden was taken out because one of his aides had a burner phone, and they had figured out which burner phone was his and followed him to where Osama bin Laden was. Other than that, we couldn't find him. He was hiding in caves and stuff the whole time. But they used burner phones. Once they figured out that they were using burner phones, it was only a matter of time to figure out where they are. Nobody can detect the recipient of a shortwave transmission. Nobody can find the person or people that received those spy numbers. Without the code, there's no way of ever telling what those spy numbers mean. It's always just a long string of numbers read very slowly out there on the shortwave. And back in the Cold War, we knew what those were. We knew those were the Russians communicating with their people. You could usually tell by the accent, or the Americans communicating with our people. We did it too. Everybody was using that because it's an untrackable method of communicating with your operatives. We should be concerned, especially as just a couple days ago now, the Trump administration turned off the terrorist alert network thing. Those of you that have been around a little while remember ever since 9/11, we had this terrorist threat level every day, from all the way from red to orange to yellow to green. And, you know, if you're green, you're good. And the closer you get to red, the more possibility there's going to be a terrorist attack. And why did the Trump administration take that down? Well, they said they want to make sure that everything's vetted and proper. Yeah, you never want to make sure anything's vetted and proper. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Trump is planning, or at least making allowed to happen, a false flag terrorist attack, or allowing a terrorist attack, much like Bush did, much like George W. Bush did. Now, back in 9/11, the intelligence was there, but they didn't follow the intelligence. Now, the intelligence departments that handle these things have been gutted by the Trump administration, because he thinks if there's an attack on the homeland, he can cancel the elections. Keep your head on a swivel. And I'm going to show you some other clips now. Keep your head on a swivel, stay low, move in a serpentine fashion. So yeah, the Iranians are going low tech. Historically, I guess with the exception of the atom bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, technology has never won a war. We've always had better technology. Did we win in Afghanistan? No. Did we win in Iraq? Not really. Not really. They're chanting death to America right now in Iraq. Did our technology help us in Vietnam? Did we win? No. No. We haven't won in a long time, people. Oh, Venezuela. Okay, we won there. But for all of our horses and all of our men, Iran's going back to fucking ancient technology, man. Shortwave radio. And as such, I've broken out my stuff. I had to find batteries for it. Batteries are dead. I'm on there. This is the frequency 7842 kilohertz. Upper sideband is where Iran is supposed to be currently broadcasting, but the way it works on shortwave, till the sun goes down, I'm not going to get much signal on that band. There are higher bands. They may be on some higher bands, so I'm going to look for that and see what I can find out. I heard, Ben Mycelis was talking about it earlier, that the CENTCOM has announced that Iran is using, enacting their sleeper cells. But, Ben, love you, Ben. Ben didn't know that technology. So he may have seen it, but I doubt a young man like Ben remembers shortwave radio. I was a ham radio operator, a shortwave listener, and a pirate radio broadcaster on both the FM and the shortwave bands. I'm appalled, but I'm also thrilled that I have a reason to break out all my equipment and start hanging wires in the trees, trying to pick up these transmissions. And if I do, I'll be one of the only people on independent media that have the transmissions, except for the people that stole them off of YouTube like I did. But I'll get them. I will get them. But here is their first one. I believe it was 7810 kilohertz upper sideband. That's what they have been broadcasting on. U.S. caught on to it, put a jamming satellite on there. I'm shocked that we even still have that technology. One of the first of its kind was the Russian woodpecker. It was a Russian satellite meant to jam the voice of America. The Voice of America is our propaganda arm to the world on shortwave radio. Plenty of countries are still using this. You can hear Cuba all the time. You can hear most of the countries in the world still broadcasting. Kerry Lake gutted the Voice of America, and last I heard, we are broadcasting OAN. They're worse than Fox on the Voice of America. I have not run across a Voice of America broadcast, but now, I'm breaking out my shortwave again. We'll see if I run across that. Maybe I'll get some interesting stories from that. But Iran's using some ancient technology, and we're using some ancient technology to try and stop their ancient technology. We'll see how that works out. Here's the jamming signal. So, based on probable cause and reasonable suspicion, which is based on the skill level of the person that's having the opinion, in my opinion, we're about to be attacked somewhere, probably the homeland, and Trump's going to let it happen. Trump is encouraging it to happen. Trump is trying to make it happen because all Trump cares about is holding on to power. He believes that he can, declare martial law, the Insurrection Act, something like that, cancel the midterm elections where he's absolutely going to lose. They tried everything. They tried the gerrymandering. They're trying to pass the SAVE Act, anything they can do. And as I pointed out before, the SAVE Act's going to bite them in the ass. There's a lot more Republicans that can't come up with their passport or their marriage certificate or their birth certificate, especially, when they were born from their cousin. I'm just saying. And Trump's going to let it happen or encourage it to happen. There's no other reason to gut the counterterrorism division. There's no other reason to fire the experts on counterintelligence with Iran unless you're trying to make something happen. So beyond the Epstein files, this is another thing that he's trying to do. I originally called it the Epstein Wars, but it's also the keep Trump in power war. Now, if they fucking pass a thing where Trump's allowed to run for a third term, please, Obama, please jump in the race. I know you've suffered enough. But you still have it. You still have that fire, that passion for America, man, and the American people. Trump only wants to make us suffer. He's driving up prices, making it impossible to live, trying to drive us to revolt, so then he can pass the Insurrection Act. That's why he's been trying to get us to riot in all these states. That's the reason for ICE. I wish I was being hyperbolic. I wish I didn't have to think this about the people who serve us. But those people don't serve us. Those people serve only themselves. And fuck us. Trump is now not ruling out the military draft. We've had a volunteer army since Vietnam. We don't need a draft. You know what happens in the draft? The poor kids go off to fight. Well, that's going to take out a lot of his supporters, isn't it? Isn't it? And the parents of those kids are not going to be his supporters. I'm not going to be a supporter. My kid is not going off to your fucking war. Got a couple years before he's 18. It ain't going to fucking happen. I'll flee with him. Unless he really, he'll be 18, then he can decide. But I'll fucking go to another country to draft dodge my son. He's not fucking going. It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no senator's son. It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no fortunate one. Michael Carell from the WTH News Network. If you love the happy news I bring you every day, subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Hit all those buttons. Leave me some comments. I really like the comments. I respond to the comments. If you comment, I'm going to say something back, or at least like your comment. You know, if I'm really, really, really busy. But I like to have discussions. Yeah. Okay. Here I am, a talking head on the camera. But I just don't want to talk to the camera. I want to talk to you. You're watching. You're my viewers, man. And I love you. I love you. I hope you love me back. All right. And I hope we get through this fucking thing and get to the midterms, have an election, and fry that bitch. Fry that bitch. Take him out of power. Kick him out of the presidency. Send him to The Hague to be tried for war crimes. Be the first president we ever extradited, and I would hope that the next Democratic president extradites this bitch to The Hague to hang for his crimes. That's my take. I'll see you next time.